Part 1 Introduction and Setting the Stage. Background and family. Tom Canty is born into a poor family living in Offal Court, a slum in London. His family is destitute and consists of his abusive father, John Canty, his grandmother, who is equally cruel, and his kind but helpless mother and sisters, Bet and Nan. Daily life. Tom's life is filled with hardship. He is forced to beg and steal to survive, often beaten by his father and grandmother if he fails to bring home money. Despite this, Tom is a kind-hearted boy with a vivid imagination and a strong sense of morality. Dreams and aspirations. Tom dreams of a better life and is fascinated by stories of nobility and royalty. He imagines himself as a prince, longing for the freedom and respect that comes with such a status. Tom's desire for a different life sets the stage for his eventual encounter with the prince. Royal life. Prince Edward Tudor, the son of King Henry VIII, lives a life of unparalleled luxury and privilege in the royal palace. Surrounded by opulence, he is educated by the finest tutors and cared for by numerous attendants. Despite his sheltered existence, Edward is intelligent, curious, and compassionate. Isolation and curiosity. Though Edward's life is filled with comfort, it is also marked by isolation. He has little contact with the outside world and is curious about the lives of ordinary people. His curiosity and kindness distinguish him from other royals and make him more relatable to readers. Tom's world. The harsh, filthy environment of Offal Court starkly contrasts with the lavish surroundings of Edward's palace. Twain vividly describes the squalor of Tom's world, highlighting the severe poverty and social injustices faced by the lower class. Edward's world. In contrast, the royal palace is depicted as a place of grandeur and order. Edward's life is meticulously controlled, with every aspect governed by protocol and tradition. The difference in their living conditions underscores the novel's exploration of social class and inequality. Tom's wanderings. One day, Tom wanders further than usual, ending up near the royal palace. He is drawn to the grandeur and beauty of the place, dreaming of what life inside might be like. His fascination leads him to approach the palace gates. The guards' mistreatment. Tom's ragged appearance attracts the attention of the palace guards, who mistake him for a beggar and treat him harshly. They push him away, causing a commotion that draws the attention of Prince Edward, who is nearby. Edward's intervention. Witnessing the guards' mistreatment of Tom, Edward intervenes, reprimanding them and inviting Tom inside the palace. This act of kindness is motivated by Edward's inherent sense of justice and curiosity about Tom's life. Curiosity and bonding. Inside the palace, Edward and Tom quickly bond over their shared curiosity about each other's lives. Despite their different backgrounds, they find common ground in their desires and dreams. The decision to swap clothes. Fascinated by their identical appearances, they decide to swap clothes as a joke. Edward dresses in Tom's rags, and Tom dons Edward's princely attire. The switch is intended to be temporary, allowing each boy to experience the other's life for a short time. Unintended consequences. The switch leads to unexpected consequences. Dressed in rags, Edward is mistaken for a beggar and thrown out of the palace. Meanwhile, Tom, now dressed as the prince, is mistaken for Edward and taken inside, where he is treated as royalty. The boys are now trapped in each other's lives, setting the stage for the novel's exploration of identity and social class. Identity and class. The introduction sets up the novel's central themes of identity and social class. By switching places, Tom and Edward are forced to confront the realities of each other's lives, challenging their perceptions of themselves and their world. Empathy and understanding. The chance encounter and subsequent switch highlight the importance of empathy and understanding. Both boys learn valuable lessons about compassion and the arbitrary nature of social status. Social critique. Twain uses the stark contrasts between Tom's and Edward's lives to critique the social inequalities of the time. The novel questions the fairness of a system that bestows power and privilege based solely on birth. Part 2. Life as the Pauper. After being thrown out of the palace, Edward Tudor, dressed in Tom Canty's rags, experiences immediate and profound shock. He is bewildered and disoriented by the chaos and filth of the streets of London. Initially, Edward cannot comprehend that he has been mistaken for a pauper. He reacts with anger and indignation, proclaiming his true identity as the Prince of Wales to anyone who will listen. His proclamations, however, are met with disbelief and ridicule. John Canty, Tom's abusive father, finds Edward and mistakes him for his son. Despite Edward's protests and attempts to assert his royal identity, Canty drags him back to Offal Court. Back in Offal Court, Edward faces harsh treatment from Canty, who beats and berates him. This brutal introduction to Tom's world is a stark contrast to the pampered life he has known. Forced to beg and fend for himself, Edward experiences hunger, cold, and exhaustion. He roams the streets, encountering the harsh realities of life among the poor and destitute. Edward's continual assertion of his identity as the prince leads to ridicule and even violence. People mock him or assume he is mad, exacerbating his frustration and sense of isolation. Edward witnesses the brutal treatment of the poor, including arbitrary arrests, public beatings, and the general cruelty of those in power. These experiences open his eyes to the injustices that the lower classes endure. As he endures these hardships, Edward's perspective begins to change. He starts to understand the suffering of his future subjects, developing a sense of empathy and a deeper commitment to justice. Edward meets Miles Hendon, a disinherited nobleman who has fallen on hard times. Miles is a kind and honorable man, and he takes pity on Edward, who he initially believes to be a delusional pauper. Despite his skepticism about Edward's claims to royalty, Miles decides to protect and help him. He becomes Edward's steadfast companion and protector, guiding him through the dangers of their journey. Over time, a deep bond forms between Edward and Miles. Hendon's kindness and loyalty provide Edward with much-needed support and companionship. Edward encounters various ruffians and criminals who pose threats to his safety. These encounters are both dangerous and educational, further exposing him to the darker side of society. Occasionally, Edward meets kind strangers who offer small acts of kindness or assistance. These moments of compassion stand out starkly against the general cruelty he experiences. Forced to survive on the streets, Edward learns to adapt to his new environment. He develops basic survival skills, such as finding food and shelter, and learns to navigate the treacherous world of London's underbelly. These trials test Edward's resilience and character. He grows mentally and emotionally, becoming more resourceful and determined to reclaim his rightful place. Edward and Miles face numerous challenges together, including confrontations with criminals, escape from danger, and periods of extreme hardship. These shared experiences forge a strong bond between them. Through their conversations, Edward learns about Miles's past, including his disinheritance and lost love. This personal history adds depth to Miles's character and further strengthens their friendship. Despite the many hardships, Edward remains determined to return to the palace and reclaim his identity. His experiences have only strengthened his resolve to become a fair and just ruler. Edward's journey is a rite of passage. He matures from a sheltered and somewhat naive prince into a compassionate and wise leader, ready to take on the responsibilities of kingship. With Miles's help, Edward begins to plan his return to London. They face numerous obstacles, but Miles's experience and knowledge prove invaluable. Their journey back to London is fraught with dangers, including pursuits by enemies and near capture by authorities. Miles's protective instincts and Edward's growing resourcefulness help them navigate these challenges. The pair encounter several close calls that test their resolve and ingenuity. These final trials further solidify Edward's growth and determination. As they draw nearer to London, the urgency and tension increase. Edward knows that reclaiming his identity will not be easy, but he is now equipped with the strength and wisdom gained from his experiences. Edward's journey as a pauper is one of self-discovery. He learns about his own strengths and weaknesses and gains a deeper understanding of his role as a future king. The transformation from a sheltered prince to a wise and empathetic leader is central to Edward's character arc. His experiences shape him into a ruler who understands and cares for all his subjects. Through Edward's eyes, Twain highlights the stark inequalities between the rich and the poor. The novel critiques the social systems that perpetuate these injustices. Edward's hardships foster a profound sense of empathy. His personal growth underscores the importance of understanding and addressing the needs of the less fortunate. The friendship between Miles and Edward is a testament to loyalty and kindness. Their bond exemplifies how mutual respect and support can help individuals overcome even the greatest challenges. Through his relationship with Miles and the people he meets, Edward learns valuable lessons in humanity and leadership. These lessons are crucial for his development as a compassionate ruler. Part 3: Life as the Prince. Upon being taken to the palace, Tom Canty is overwhelmed by its grandeur and the sudden change in his circumstances. The lavish surroundings, ornate decorations, and the sheer scale of the palace leave him in a state of shock. Tom is terrified that his true identity will be discovered. He is acutely aware of the potential consequences of being seen as an impostor, which could include severe punishment or even execution. Tom is introduced to the members of the court, including high-ranking officials and nobles. Their deference and respect bewilder him, as he is unaccustomed to being treated with such reverence. King Henry VIII, mistaking Tom for his son Edward, expresses concern for Edward's health, attributing his strange behavior to a recent illness. This provides Tom with some cover as he tries to navigate his new role. Despite his initial terror, Tom receives guidance from Prince Edward's advisors and tutors, who are puzzled by the prince's apparent memory loss and strange behavior but remain dedicated to serving him. Tom begins to observe and mimic the behaviors and customs of the court. His quick wit and intelligence allow him to pick up on the nuances of royal etiquette and protocol, though he often makes mistakes. Tom is thrust into a life filled with ceremonial duties, meetings, and decisions that affect the kingdom. He must quickly learn to handle these responsibilities, relying on his advisors for guidance. The complex etiquette and rituals of the court are a significant challenge for Tom. He must remember countless rules and traditions, often improvising to avoid raising suspicion. Tom's unfamiliarity with the language of the court and its customs leads to several awkward and confusing moments. He struggles with formal speech and courtly manners, causing concern among the courtiers. Tom's lack of knowledge about the symbols of authority, such as the Great Seal of England, results in misunderstandings. His ignorance sometimes alarms his advisors, who worry about the prince's mental state. As Tom becomes more comfortable in his role, he begins to make decisions based on his own experiences of poverty and suffering. His empathy for the common people informs his actions. Despite his lack of formal education, Tom's decisions often reflect surprising wisdom and compassion. His unique perspective as a former pauper leads him to advocate for more humane and just policies. One of Tom's notable reforms is in the judicial system. He is appalled by the harsh punishments meted out for minor offenses and begins to advocate for more lenient and fair treatment of prisoners. Tom also focuses on improving the lives of the poor. He issues orders to provide food and shelter for the needy, drawing from his own experiences to create policies that address their needs. While some members of the court are resistant to these changes, others are impressed by Edward's apparent transformation into a more just and compassionate ruler. This earns Tom both supporters and skeptics within the palace. Some nobles and courtiers are skeptical of the changes in Edward's behavior. They suspect that the prince's recent illness has affected his mind, leading to his uncharacteristic decisions and actions. Court politics pose a significant challenge for Tom. He must navigate the intrigues and power struggles among the nobles, who seek to advance their own interests and influence. Despite the opposition, Tom finds allies among the more progressive and compassionate members of the court. These advisors support his reforms and help him navigate the complexities of royal governance. Tom forms a bond with Lady Elizabeth, Edward's sister, who is perceptive and supportive. She notices the positive changes in Edward and becomes one of his key allies. Over time, Tom grows more confident in his role as prince. He continues to learn about governance, statecraft, and the responsibilities of leadership, becoming more adept at handling the challenges he faces. Tom begins to realize his own potential and capabilities. He sees the impact of his decisions and actions, gaining a sense of fulfillment and purpose from his role. Despite his newfound confidence, Tom never forgets his humble origins. His experiences as a pauper keep him grounded and empathetic, guiding his decisions and interactions with others. Tom's commitment to justice and compassion remains a driving force in his actions. He is determined to use his position to improve the lives of the people, drawing on his own experiences to inform his policies. As Tom continues to demonstrate wisdom and compassion, he begins to win the respect and admiration of the court. His reforms and fair judgments garner support from various factions within the palace. Tom's natural leadership qualities emerge as he gains more experience. His ability to empathize with others and make just decisions sets him apart from other rulers, making him a beloved figure among the people. As King Henry VIII's health declines, the anticipation of Tom's coronation grows. Tom is aware that his time in this role may be limited, but he remains committed to making a positive impact. Tom reflects on his experiences and the lessons he has learned. He prepares himself mentally and emotionally for the possibility of returning to his old life, understanding that his time as prince has profoundly changed him. Tom's journey as the prince explores the theme of identity and the transformative power of experience. His time in the palace allows him to grow and develop in ways he never imagined. Tom discovers his potential for leadership and compassion. His experiences as a pauper inform his actions as a prince, leading to a unique and effective approach to governance. Tom's reforms and policies highlight the importance of social justice and empathy. His actions challenge the established norms and seek to create a fairer and more compassionate society. Tom's journey emphasizes the human side of leadership. His empathy and understanding make him a relatable and beloved figure, demonstrating the impact of compassionate governance. Tom's ability to face challenges with courage and integrity underscores the importance of these qualities in effective leadership. His journey shows that true leadership requires both strength and compassion. Despite the pressures and complexities of court life, Tom remains true to his values. His commitment to justice and empathy guides his actions, making him a model of principled leadership. Part 4. The Climax and Resolution. Edward remains determined to reclaim his identity as the rightful Prince of Wales, despite numerous hardships. His experiences among the poor have strengthened his resolve to restore justice. Miles Hendon's unwavering support is crucial in this journey. Initially skeptical, Miles grows to believe in Edward's claim and dedicates himself to protecting and assisting the young prince. As they journey towards London, Edward and Miles face numerous perils, including encounters with thieves, corrupt officials, and hostile townsfolk. These challenges test their ingenuity and resolve. At one point, Edward and Miles are captured and imprisoned, complicating their quest. Their time in captivity underscores the injustices of the legal system, which Edward witnesses firsthand. Miles endures significant hardships to protect Edward, including physical abuse and the threat of execution. His loyalty and bravery are instrumental in helping Edward survive and continue his journey. Throughout their adventures, Miles reveals his own story of betrayal and loss. His dedication to Edward ultimately leads to the restoration of his honor and position, symbolizing the triumph of loyalty and justice. As they near London, the tension and anticipation build. Edward knows that the day of his coronation is approaching, and he must act quickly to reclaim his rightful place before it is too late. Edward and Miles prepare for the inevitable confrontation at the palace, aware that they will need undeniable proof to convince the court of Edward's true identity. Meanwhile, Tom Canty is preparing for the coronation, filled with inner conflict. Although he has grown accustomed to life as a prince, he knows that he is living a lie. His conscience troubles him, and he dreads the moment when he might be exposed. The palace is abuzz with preparations for the grand ceremony. Nobles, officials, and foreign dignitaries gather to witness the crowning of the new king, unaware of the dramatic revelation that is about to unfold. On the day of the coronation, Edward and Miles arrive at the palace. Edward, now more determined and confident than ever, demands an audience with the court. The guards and officials are initially skeptical and try to dismiss him. The tension reaches its peak as Edward forces his way into the coronation ceremony. His sudden appearance, dressed in pauper's rags but exuding royal authority, causes a stir among the assembled nobility. The defining moment comes when Edward produces the Great Seal of England, which he had hidden before the switch. This crucial artifact, known only to the real prince, serves as irrefutable proof of his identity. As Edward's identity is confirmed, Tom steps forward and willingly confesses the truth. He acknowledges his role in the deception and expresses his relief that the rightful king has returned. Edward, now recognized as the true king, shows gratitude and understanding towards Tom. He recognizes the courage it took for Tom to step forward and admires his honesty and integrity. Edward is officially crowned as King Edward VI, to the astonishment and relief of those present. His journey from pauper to prince and back again has prepared him well for the responsibilities of kingship. One of Edward's first acts as king is to issue decrees that address the injustices he witnessed during his time among the poor. He enacts reforms to ensure fairer treatment of the common people, drawing from his own experiences to inform his policies. Edward rewards Tom for his honesty and the lessons he has learned. He grants Tom and his family a secure and improved life, elevating their status and ensuring their well-being. Despite their different backgrounds, Edward and Tom maintain a bond of friendship and mutual respect. Their shared experiences have created a lasting connection between them. Edward honors Miles Hendon for his loyalty and bravery. He restores Miles's rightful title and lands, acknowledging the sacrifices Miles made to protect him. Miles is granted a place of honor at court, where he continues to serve as a trusted advisor and friend to King Edward VI. His story of redemption and loyalty becomes a celebrated part of the court's history. Edward's reign is marked by empathy and justice. His experiences among the poor have profoundly shaped his approach to governance, making him a compassionate and fair ruler. He continues to implement reforms that improve the lives of his subjects, reflecting his commitment to addressing social inequalities and ensuring justice for all. Tom Canty and his family enjoy improved circumstances thanks to Edward's generosity. Tom's intelligence and integrity earn him respect and opportunities within the new social order. Tom's experiences as a prince have broadened his perspective and given him a deeper understanding of leadership and responsibility. He continues to use these lessons in his new life. The story concludes with a reflection on the themes of identity and class. Both Edward and Tom have experienced life on both ends of the social spectrum, gaining a deeper understanding of their shared humanity. Twain's novel challenges the rigid social norms of the time, highlighting the arbitrary nature of class distinctions and the potential for personal growth and transformation regardless of one's background. The bond between Edward and Tom endures beyond the events of the novel. Their friendship serves as a testament to the power of empathy, understanding, and mutual respect. Edward's reign leaves a legacy of compassion and justice, inspired by his unique journey from prince to pauper and back again. His story becomes a symbol of hope and change for the kingdom. The climax of the novel underscores the triumph of truth and justice. Edward's rightful place is restored, and the injustices he witnessed are addressed through his empathetic leadership. The resolution highlights the importance of moral integrity and courage. Both Edward and Tom demonstrate these qualities in their actions, setting an example for others. Miles Hendon's journey of redemption and loyalty is a significant theme. His unwavering support for Edward and eventual restoration of his honor underscore the values of loyalty and courage. The novel's resolution also emphasizes forgiveness and understanding. Edward forgives those who doubted him and shows compassion towards Tom, recognizing the value of his experiences. Edward's personal experiences of poverty and injustice profoundly impact his approach to governance. His reign is characterized by policies that reflect empathy and a commitment to social justice. Twain uses the story to challenge the social inequalities of the time, advocating for a more just and compassionate society. Part 5, Aftermath and Conclusion. Edward's experiences as a pauper significantly influence his reign as King Edward VI. His empathy for the common people drives his policies and reforms. He works diligently to address social injustices and improve the lives of his subjects. His first-hand understanding of poverty and suffering leads to more compassionate governance, focusing on fair treatment and justice for all. Edward implements several key reforms. He improves the judicial system, ensuring fair trials and humane treatment for all, including the poor and marginalized. He reduces the harsh punishments for minor offenses, striving for a more just and equitable legal system. His policies reflect his desire to create a society where everyone, regardless of their status, is treated with dignity and respect. Edward's leadership style is marked by his humility and commitment to service. He remains approachable and attentive to the needs of his people. His experiences have taught him the importance of listening to his subjects and understanding their struggles. This empathetic approach endears him to his people and makes him a beloved ruler. Tom Canty and his family enjoy improved circumstances thanks to Edward's generosity. They are granted a comfortable home and a secure income, ensuring their well-being. Tom's intelligence and quick wit, which served him well during his time as prince, earn him respect and opportunities in his new life. Despite the comforts of his new status, Tom never forgets his roots. His experiences as a pauper and as a prince have profoundly shaped his character. He uses his newfound influence to advocate for the poor and work towards social reforms. Tom's humility and sense of justice make him a respected and influential figure in society. Tom's relationship with Edward remains strong. The two share a unique bond forged by their extraordinary experiences. They continue to support and advise each other, their friendship serving as a reminder of the transformative power of empathy and understanding. Miles Hendon is rewarded for his loyalty and bravery. Edward restores Miles's rightful title and lands, acknowledging the sacrifices he made to protect the young prince. Miles's dedication and courage are celebrated, and he is granted a place of honor at court. Miles continues to serve as a trusted advisor to King Edward VI. His wisdom and experience, combined with his unwavering loyalty, make him an invaluable asset to the court. Miles's story of redemption and loyalty becomes a celebrated part of the kingdom's history. Miles's legacy is also marked by his commitment to justice and compassion. His actions during Edward's time as a pauper demonstrate the importance of standing up for what is right, regardless of personal risk. Miles's example inspires others to act with integrity and courage. The events of the story have a lasting impact on society. Edward's reforms and policies create a fairer and more just society. His commitment to empathy and compassion sets a new standard for leadership. The kingdom begins to see changes that improve the lives of its citizens, particularly the poor and marginalized. Edward's reign is remembered as a time of positive change and progress. His unique experiences and compassionate leadership leave a lasting legacy. The story of the prince and the pauper becomes a symbol of hope and transformation, inspiring future generations to strive for justice and equality. The aftermath and conclusion of The Prince and the Pauper explore several key themes. The transformative power of empathy and understanding is central to the story. Edward's experiences as a pauper profoundly shape his reign, leading to more compassionate and just governance. The theme of social justice is also prominent. Edward's reforms address the inequalities and injustices he witnessed firsthand. His commitment to creating a fairer society is a testament to the importance of empathy and understanding in leadership. The story also highlights the value of loyalty and integrity. Miles Hendon's unwavering support for Edward and Tom's honest confession are examples of these qualities. Their actions demonstrate the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of adversity. Finally, the story challenges the rigid social norms of the time. Edward and Tom's experiences show that character and integrity are not determined by social status. The novel advocates for a more just and equitable society, where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. The Prince and the Pauper concludes with a sense of hope and transformation. Edward's reign brings positive change and progress, reflecting the lessons he learned during his time as a pauper. Tom's new life is marked by his commitment to justice and empathy, using his experiences to advocate for the poor and marginalized. The bond between Edward and Tom endures, symbolizing the transformative power of empathy and understanding. Their friendship and shared experiences leave a lasting legacy, inspiring future generations to strive for a fairer and more just society. The novel's conclusion emphasizes the importance of empathy, compassion, and social justice. Twain's story challenges the rigid social norms of the time, advocating for a society where everyone, regardless of their status, is treated with dignity and respect. The transformative journeys of Edward and Tom serve as powerful examples of the potential for personal growth and positive change, regardless of one's background or circumstances.